Good morning. I'm Teacher Rose, and welcome to Introduction to Philosophy of the Human Person. You have encountered in the previous presentations about all the concepts you need to better understand human nature and what drives humans to establish relationship and the things that influence the development of a human person. You have gone through the journey and getting much deeper understanding about all the aspects that relate with human nature. Now, let's explore what is the essence of living. Have you ever wondered about how nothing seems to last forever? Objects get worn out, food and drinks get expired, and even trends become outdated after some time. Even more, what about the cycle of being born, growing up, getting old, being sick, and dying? These go to one very important reality at some point of our human condition. We are temporal beings, which means that we are human beings oriented towards impending death. Surely, the very thought of death and the mystery surrounding it have caused a lot of grief and anxiety to a person. You must certainly feel that thinking about death at this point of your life is a bit inappropriate or unnecessary since you are still young and you still have your whole life ahead of you. Thus, the idea makes you a bit uncomfortable, but then it is an essential element in the human condition which definitely deserves attention. Only in reflecting on the reality of death can we begin to explore and understand the meaning of your own and very existence. YOLO, you only live once. Eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die. In the essence that we humans are oriented towards our impending death, this concept has given rise to such various expressions being mentioned above. Commonly, death is understood as the end of bodily functions, which signals the end of a person's life. It also refers to the separation of the body and the spirit. As you have learned in the past presentations, the human person is an embodied spirit. The body, being material, is subject to growth, death, and decay. So while the spirit, being immaterial, will continue to exist even after the body has passed. Accepting the fact that we are person facing the reality of death allows us to determine the course of our actions and of our entire life. Thus, the essence of freedom is self-determination, which refers to the capacity to choose and act for oneself. For instance, a person cannot stop the natural bound law of growing old. However, he or she can choose to embrace aging gracefully by taking pride in their gray hair, wrinkles, and the fact of having grandchildren. But others might take a different path and use any means to mask their physical aging by getting cosmetic surgery and having age defying treatments. Ultimately, we must embrace the fact that death is an integral part of our life, so that once we have come in good terms with that inevitable aspect of human, we can focus not just on the quantifiable aspect of life, like possession, luxurious years, but also its quality. It can give us clearer purpose and focus on our daily activities. Since we cannot do everything in our lifetime, we must be able to reflect on what we need to do and identify the goals we need to achieve so we can say that we have lived in a meaningful existence. The human person is an embodied spirit, which refers to the unity of a body and a spirit. The body grows and dies, while the soul continues to exist even after the body has passed. It is true that we are no exemption. We will face the inevitability of death, but we have the freedom to live our lives well or not. Temporality challenges us to make choices that will be good for us and the people around us. Although we are oriented towards our impending death, death itself is not the goal of life, yet the challenge to live a meaningful life. In the above presentation, you have encountered the reality of death. By the law of nature, it is inevitable that we all face the brink of our existence. Thus, by embracing this knowledge, we are motivated to spend our life in a more meaningful way as possible. So now let's continue to loosen the amazing journey of one's existence. We all know that as we approach our death, we experience both happiness and suffering. The two are not really meant to be polar opposites, for they can also enrich one another. You cannot appreciate the essence of genuine happiness and success if you do not experience suffering, pain, or difficulties. What brings you happiness? Is it the food you eat, the clothes you wear, the gadgets you own, the achievements you reap, the moments you share with your loved ones? Whatever it is, you feel something good and pleasurable. Happiness is a state of being, not just an emotional experience of a chosen mental attitude. In fact, we do not choose happiness. Happiness is always there, and we just choose the means path to achieve it. We consider the sources of happiness as something that is good for us. So we have here the three kinds of goods. First is what we call noble good. It is one which is pursued for its own sake. It is good in itself. For example, love and friendship. Next is useful good. It is considered good as long as it serves as a means to an end. Its goodness is found only from what it can provide. For example, is money. And the third one is pleasurable good. It provides some form of pleasure, though it doesn't have to be physical. For example, a trip to a favorite places. However, you should always remember that happiness from a material thing slowly fades away as soon as you have it. Meanwhile, happiness formed by friendship only grows as it progresses. Happy moments with people precious to you are priceless. Thus, do not be blinded by earthly living and live a meaningful life, for real happiness can be found in more feminine and meaningful things. On the other hand, the negative experiences are also part of our lives. Suffering takes place when we patiently endure unpleasantness, discomfort, and pain. On the other hand, negative experiences are also part of our lives. Suffering takes place when we patiently endure unpleasant comfort and pain. Ala, So we have a form of suffering. First is physical suffering, which include physical sensations such as discomfort, hunger, distress, homelessness, and pain from an injury, disease, or even lack of basic needs. Next is mental suffering. Example are emotional and mental states such as depression, anxiety, fear, loneliness, and grief. Disappointments and rejection in life may also be a cause of suffering. More often, we normally experience adversities in life, and how we deal with them is determined by our mindset regarding suffering. After all, without pain and suffering, we are unable to grow and improve to become wiser and tougher. Thus, our positive experiences might lose meaning and significance without the recognizance of one's suffering and difficulties in life. With all this growth and development of various forms of societies, the human interactions are also growing more complex over the span of time. Factors like science and technology advancement and cultural changes brought improvement to the society, along with complexity and various ethnicities. But despite this innovation and developments, the human person still remains the heart of the society and drives social changes based on respective responses and needs for the betterment. Again, I'm Teacher Rose saying share love to everybody, be a blessing to everyone. Thank you.